Everyone told you ginger is good for you. Your mother probably said it. The internet says it, every wellness blog, every health influencer, every morning routine video. They all repeat the same thing. Ginger is a superfood. Eat it raw. Put it in your smoothie. Take a shot of it every morning. It heals everything. But what if that's only half the story? What if the part they left out is the part your stomach has been trying to tell you for years, and you just never listened? Today, we're going to break apart one of the most repeated claims in the entire health food world, and by the end of this, you're going to understand something about ginger that changes the way you use it permanently. Let's start with why everyone believes ginger is harmless. It's natural. It's been used for centuries. It looks like something your grandmother would grate into soup, and because it's natural, we assume there's no downside. We've been trained to think that if something comes from the ground, it's automatically safe in any quantity, in any form, at any time of day. That assumption is the problem, and it's not your fault for believing it. The messaging around ginger has been so one-sided for so long that questioning it almost feels wrong, like questioning whether water is good for you. But the science tells a very different story when you look at the details. Nobody bothers to mention inside raw ginger. There's a group of compounds called gingerols. These are the molecules responsible for that sharp burning taste you feel when you bite into a fresh slice. Most people interpret that burn as a sign the ginger is working. It feels active. It feels powerful. So they keep eating more of it. But that sensation isn't a sign of healing. It's a sign of irritation. And the tissue being irritated is one of the most sensitive structures in your entire body. Your stomach lining. Your stomach lining is protected by a layer of mucus, maintained by chemical messengers called prostaglandins. Most people have never heard that word, but prostaglandins are running one of the most critical defense systems in your body right now. As you're listening to this, they act like security guards. They keep the mucus thick, they keep the hydrochloric acid on the right side of the wall, and they make sure nothing eats through the barrier from inside. Without them, your own stomach acid would start digesting the wall itself. It's a system that works perfectly quietly every second of every day, as long as nothing disrupts it. And that's exactly what gingerols do. They disrupt it. Research published in the Journal of Food Science and Nutrition showed that gingerols can interfere with the enzymes responsible for producing these protective prostaglandins. When those enzymes are disrupted, the mucus layer thins. The acid gets closer to the wall, and your stomach starts sending signals you've probably felt before. A slight burn after a ginger shot, a heaviness after a smoothie with too much raw ginger, a warmth that doesn't quite feel right. Think of it like a shield made of wax. It holds up fine under normal conditions, but if you keep applying heat to one spot day after day, the wax melts thinner and thinner. At first, you don't notice the shield still looks intact from the outside, but underneath, the surface is getting closer and closer to being exposed. One day, the acid breaks through, and that's the day you feel it, that sharp, persistent burn that doesn't go away after a glass of water. That's what's happening every time concentrated gingerols hit your stomach lining without anything to buffer them. And the people most at risk are the ones doing it every single morning on an empty stomach, thinking they're doing something healthy. And here's the part that makes this worse. Raw ginger contains up to 400 milligrams of gingerols per 100 grams. Dried ginger often under 100. That's not a small difference. That's a 4-to-1 ratio. When you eat raw ginger, you're getting the full unprocessed concentration of these compounds hitting your stomach all at once. If this is making you rethink your morning routine the same way it made me rethink mine, take a second, hit like on this video, and subscribe. This channel exists to dig into the science that nobody puts on the label. And the more people see this, the more people stop hurting themselves with good intentions. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. A study from the International Journal of Molecular Sciences examined how different forms of ginger affect the gastrointestinal tract. They compared raw, dried, and thermally processed ginger across multiple measurements. What they found was clear and consistent. Raw ginger triggers a faster and more intense initial reaction in the stomach lining compared to cooked or dried forms. The bioavailability of gingerols in raw form is significantly higher, which means your body absorbs more of the irritant, faster with less time for your system to break it down or dilute it before it reaches the tissue. This is not a marginal difference. It's the difference between a compound that passes through gently and one that lands like a punch on unprotected tissue. This is the part the supplement industry doesn't want you to think about. They market ginger as a universal gut healer. They put it in capsules, shots, powders, and juices. They slap the word natural on the label and let your brain fill in the rest. But natural doesn't mean unlimited. Natural doesn't mean harmless. Arsenic is natural. Snake venom is natural. The question was never whether ginger comes from the earth. The question is, what happens when too much of it reaches the wrong tissue at the wrong concentration? Your body has been answering that question for you every time you felt that post-ginger discomfort and dismissed it as normal. Every time you thought that's just what ginger does and kept going. Every time you pushed through the burn because someone on the internet told you it was a sign of detox. It wasn't detox. It was damage control. And the frustrating part is that ginger does have real benefits: anti-inflammatory properties, nausea relief, circulation support. Nobody is saying ginger is useless. What we're saying is that the form you consume it in and the amount you use determines whether it helps you or hurts you, and that distinction has been completely erased from the public conversation. So, what do you actually do with this? First, stop consuming large amounts of raw ginger on an empty stomach. This is the highest risk scenario. No mucus buffering food, no fat to slow absorption, just pure gingerols hitting exposed lining. If you want ginger in the morning, cook it into a tea first. Heat breaks down a significant portion of the gingerols and converts them into shogels, which are still sharp in taste, but interact differently with your stomach tissue. Boiled ginger tea is not the same thing as a raw ginger shot. Your stomach knows the difference, even if the label doesn't tell you. Second, control your dose. Even cooked ginger should be treated with respect. A small slice, roughly the size of a coin, in a cup of hot water is enough to get the anti-inflammatory and digestive benefits without overwhelming your lining. You don't need a fistful. You don't need 3 inches of raw root in your morning smoothie. You don't need to feel the burn to know it's working. If anything, the absence of burn is the sign that you're using the right amount. The moment you feel that sharp warmth in your stomach, you've already gone past the threshold your lining is comfortable with. Think of ginger the way you'd think of a medicine, not a snack, not a flavor. A medicine because that's what it is biochemically, and with any medicine, the dose matters more than the ingredient. Third, listen to what your body is already telling you. If you've ever felt heartburn, bloating, a warm discomfort in your upper stomach, or a kind of acidic aftertaste after eating raw ginger, that wasn't a coincidence. That was your stomach lining telling you it's under stress. Don't override that signal with the belief that ginger is supposed to feel intense. Pain is not a feature, it's feedback. If your body reacts, reduce the amount, change the form, or try alternatives like turmeric or fennel that offer anti-inflammatory benefits without the same level of mucosal aggression. You're not someone who just follows trends anymore. You're not someone who eats something because a headline told you to. You're someone who understands that the difference between a remedy and an irritant is almost never the ingredient itself. It's the dose, the form, and the timing. A small slice of ginger in hot water is medicine. A fistful of raw ginger on an empty stomach is aggression. Same plant, completely different outcome. That's not something you'll read on a supplement bottle. That's not something the wellness industry will ever put on a label. That's something you learn when you stop trusting marketing and start trusting biology. And now you know. So here's the question nobody asks. If raw ginger does this to your stomach lining, what's happening further down? How far does the irritation travel through your digestive tract? Does it stop at the stomach? Or does it reach the intestinal wall too? And what other common foods you eat every single day without thinking, are triggering the exact same prostaglandin disruption without you ever connecting the dots? Because ginger isn't the only one. There's one ingredient sitting in almost every kitchen on the planet, something most people eat multiple times a week, that triggers a chain reaction in your hormones that almost nobody has ever heard of. And we're about to pull it apart compound by compound, molecule by molecule in the next video.